They keep introducing a new sound around every turn, and we're only 47 seconds into this song. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am Molly, and in this video, I'm going to be listening to the album Life Is Killing Me by Typo Negative. Now we're getting to that time of the year where Typo Negative's music just really hits the spot. It has that amazing, creepy, sort of Halloween-y vibe to it. So I thought it was appropriate. I finally gave their 6th studio album, Life Is Killing Me, a listen. So far I've heard their 2nd and 3rd albums, Bloody Kisses and October Rust. I loved both of those records. Typo Negative has such a distinct sound and style to their music. So yeah, I'm very excited to give their 6th studio album a listen and just see what I'm going to think of it. Alright, starting Life Is Killing Me off is track 1 called 13. I love the slight fuzziness that this track has. Okay, and then it just kind of goes right into the next one, but that was track 1, 13. Sort of an introduction to this album, I guess, just over a minute long. I loved all of the distortion that they were using, and something about the way they were doing the drums. It was like building up anticipation. It felt like something was just bubbling right under the surface. But I'm going to continue on with track 2 called I Don't Wanna Be Me. Man, Peter Steele's voice is just so distinct, man. He just has such a richness to his tone. There's such a speediness to this song. Like, I'm comparing it to the other 2 albums of theirs I've heard where their music was kind of slowed down a bit more. It had more of a heaviness to it. And this one has this sort of rapid pace. And I love these vocals that they're using too. It's like this chanting sound. And these guitars, their tone is just so unique. Well, that was track 2, I Don't Wanna Be Me. That was an amazing song. It had such a great smoothness to it. And with the distortion of those guitars and kind of that slight sort of muffled, like fuzzy sound, there was almost something very haunted about its tone. And then that ending too really added to that atmospheric quality. There was such a chilling tone to it. It kind of sounded like someone walking and then running away and then a train going by or something. Up next is track 3 called Less Than Zero. They keep introducing a new sound around every turn, and we're only 47 seconds into this song. Really interesting percussive element just there. It almost sounded like people clapping. Just his inflection there on the word wearing, I love it. It has like this old English flair to it. Their music just always conjures up so much vivid imagery. They just really take you to a place with their music. All of these sounds they're incorporating, there's a really strong lushness to this track. was track 3, Less Than Zero. Man, I was fully absorbed in all of the sounds going on with that track. That one was incredible, just how they layered so many different elements. I loved how smooth that track was too, especially toward the end there. His vocals just had an amazing melodicness to them, and they blended so well with the instrumentals too. Even though there was a lot going on, it was just all crafted together really, really well. But I'm going to continue on with track 4 called Todd's Ship Gods Above All Things. That's an interesting noise going on. There's something so melodic about this track, and yet it has such a deconstructed sort of rattling sound to it at the same time. This part right here, it sounds like the clouds are parting and the sun is shining through. It just has such a brightness to its tone. So much vocal distortion on this second set of vocals going on. That was track 4, Todd's Ship Gods Above All Things. It sounded like it was getting louder there at the end. It was like building up intensity. Lots of vocal distortion too. It's amazing how they fuse that amazing smoothness with a lot of like borderline industrial elements at times, just sort of a deconstructed sound to it. Up next is track 5 called I Like Goils. That chanting vocalization is back on this one. These vocals are almost like wolf howls a little bit. That was track 5, I Like Goils. That was a speedy little song. That one kind of got the momentum going and didn't let up. I couldn't pick up on all the words that he was saying, but the ones I was hearing, their sense of humor was definitely coming through on that track. And I loved how on the chorus it kind of ramped up that intensity. It's like the vocals just came in like a surge. Just a really entertaining song to listen to, again, with all of the sounds and everything that they're using. But continuing on with track 6 is A Dish Best Served Coldly. That was cool. It almost sounded like a scream or something that was distorted. That's just shooting from one side of my headphones to the other. What was that effect I just heard? It sounded like a glitch or something. Again, I don't even know what this sound is, like how they're creating it.
What is the price of a friend? Like for a night, 2 for 2.
There's almost something a little My Bloody Valentine-esque about this track in particular. It's like this dense wall of sound. All of these instrumentals and different effects they're using are just being blended together so incredibly well that it's almost forming like one sound, if that makes sense. Right, kind of a sudden ending to that one. That was track 6, A Dish Best Served Coldly. That was an amazing song. Again, it just totally transported me with its sound. I was really absorbed with that one. A fantastic track to show off Peter Steele's vocal ability, that's for sure. If that was indeed his vocals through the whole thing, at times he brought a lot of punchiness, more of that aggression, but then at other times it was so smooth, really beautifully melodic, and kind of up in the higher register of his tone as well. Alright, moving on to track 7 is How Could She? I love that electric guitar, just getting things started. Sounds like some electronic stuff they're doing here. I love how they turned that final crashing effect into clapping. That was a seamless transition. It's like they're singing to this massive crowd of people. There's all of this energy. It's amazing, and they just keep building it up. Again, such a sudden ending just there. But that was track 7, How Could She? That electric guitar really shone on that one. Absolutely fantastic sound to it. And they're doing a lot of atmospheric, sort of ambient stuff on this album, and that track was a great example of that with the clapping and everything that they would sporadically put in there. It's kind of giving this whole album sort of an empty echoiness. It's bringing in a little bit of that coldness, but then they balance that out by having a lot of really softer, more melodic moments as well. All right, moving on is track 8, which is the title track, Life is Killing Me. I love how that guitar tone kind of sounded like an ambulance siren for a second, and then it transitioned into the guitar, really setting the tone of that hospital at the start.
Doctors and thieves, they both wear masks, overpaid.
Doctors and thieves, they both wear masks. There's so much aggression to his vocals on this chorus. I love it. So much energy. This tone from the guitar, I love it. Such a contrast. That really restrained angelic part, and then they just come in with so much force. That was track 8, Life is Killing Me. Such an entertaining track, not only lyrically, but just again with all of the variety of sounds and the twists and the turns that song took. And it was really interesting the back and forth between the more punchy, aggressive moments of that song, and then they would shut it off all of a sudden. And you had those really heavenly, sort of angelic sections of the song that were more pulled in. It was almost mimicking like that back and forth of life and death. Like when he's alive, he's kind of fighting, and there's more of that tension and aggression, and then when he dies, he falls into that more calm, restrained place. All right, moving on is track 9 called Nettie. Man, his vocal delivery is so low. That was so fantastic, how the song just came rushing in like that. I'm loving the vocals on this one, just his style of delivery, how he pronounces some of the words, it's so unique. Is that a second vocalist they've got now? Yeah, some harmonizing going on. I wonder who the second vocalist is.
Saving me from myself.
That was track 9, Nettie. That track was a little bit more slowed down than some of the other songs have been on this album. It had this really spread out, kind of slowly building energy to it. And everything they were doing with the vocals was so creative. I loved how at the start, his vocal delivery was so deep. And then later on, they introduced that second vocalist and there was some harmonizing going on. Just a really interesting track to listen to and so beautiful. It just had an amazing tenderness to it. But moving on to track 10 is We Were Electrocute. Okay, we got a little bit of a trumpet, it sounds like, coming in now. I love how sharp this part of the song is. It's almost like you're being electrocuted. It's got these shocks to it, and then the song will just kind of smooth out at other parts. I love that electric guitar coming in at certain parts there, just adding a surge of energy. That was track 10, We Were Electrocute. I loved how that one started and ended with that crackly sound effect, almost like static electricity. It kind of had that quality to its sound. And rhythmically, that song was so creative. It was like on the chorus, there was this surge of energy and it kind of had a sharper sound to it. And then it would smooth out at other parts. And I loved how they were going back and forth so much on that track. Up next is track 11, which I honestly don't know how to pronounce. It's a bunch of letters, IYDKMIGTHTKY, and then in parentheses, Gimme That. So yeah, let's give this one a listen. It sounds like there's heavy breathing. There's something kind of ominous about the tone of this one. contrast of the vocals. On the chorus, it's so breathy and deep, and it's got this sort of creepy tone to it. And now it's so high and more melodic. There's kind of an angelic quality to it. I love this background tone too. There's sort of this mild fuzziness to it. It's almost giving this song a bit of a softness to its tone. I'm hearing some really faint vocals, it sounds like, kind of pushed way back, almost like someone talking. Well, that was track 11, and now those letters make sense. I guess it's, if you don't kill me, I'm going to have to kill you, abbreviated. I loved the vocals on that one. At times when he was saying, gimme that, there was such a breathiness to it. It was kind of like he was whispering it. And again, with that wall of sound I mentioned earlier on this album, at times they're just fusing so many elements together, and it's hard to differentiate and pick out all of the different elements that they're using. It's just blended together beautifully, and that track was another great example of that. But I'm going to continue on with track 12 called Angry Inch. Man, this one's got some speed to it. Okay, certainly interesting lyrics on this one. They certainly have a sense of humor, don't they, with their music? I love that instrument. It kind of has a flute-like sound to it, but it's bringing such a lushness to this song. Oh, I loved that guitar tone right there at the end with that distortion going on. But that was track 12, Angry Inch. Man, with that one, you just kind of had to hold on and not let go. That was such a speedy song. Certainly some humorous lyrics, that's for sure. And I loved their voices together. I'm really enjoying on this album. They're really leaning into that with the harmonizing and everything. And on that track, I thought it worked so well. All right, moving on to track 13 is Anesthesia. Ooh, I just got goosebumps there when that piano came in. That tone is so beautiful. It feels like I'm diving off the edge of a cliff or something and just free falling. There's such a smoothness to it. And then they just pull it right back from all of that intensity, and now it's almost like the song's just been shut off. That's kind of interesting. He just said the lyric, when you give an inch, and that last track was called Angry Inch. It's like he's given a certain extent of himself to someone else, and now he's feeling regret over that, like he wish he hadn't given himself to someone. Just kind of an interesting parallel there. Dang, what an incredible vocal delivery. So much energy. Well, that was track 13, Anesthesia. That one might just be my favorite song on this album so far. I absolutely loved how atmospheric it was. Something kind of unsettling about the end, how you just had those piano notes being played and then you could faintly hear him kind of whispering some words out. I couldn't tell what he was saying though. And the beginning too, I loved how it had that sort of drawn out, dissipated effect to its sound, and then all of that energy just came surging in like a punch. But moving on to track 14 is Drunk in Paris. Such an interesting blend, this accordion mixed with this distortion with the guitar. That was track 14, Drunk in Paris. Kind of like a little break on this album, a shorter track, no vocals on that one either, it was entirely instrumental. I loved the use of the accordion, that brought kind of an interesting element to their sound, and a very relaxing, sort of laid back feel to that song. It kind of had this looseness to it. But I'm going to continue on with the final song on Life is Killing Me, which is track 15 called The Dream is Dead. I love the tone change. It has this smoothness and then the song kind of fell into that more deconstructed sound. That's a cool effect. It kind of sounded like his voice was echoing a bit just there. Little tone there. I don't know if that was a whistle or a flute. That was track 15, The Dream is Dead. Interesting it's called that because it almost felt like I was in a dream listening to it with the tone and everything that it had. Something really smooth and a little bit more uplifted in tone than a lot of the other tracks on this album have been. Such an immersive track. It almost felt like I was sinking into it, just something oddly relaxing about it. Well, that concludes my reaction to Life is Killing Me, the 6th studio album from Typo Negative. This band is so incredibly unique with their sound. I have not heard another artist that sounds like them. This album was no exception. They fused so many different things on this. It was incredibly entertaining to listen to, and despite the very long runtime, this album is well over an hour. It flew by when I was listening to it. I enjoyed every track. Track 2, I Don't Want to Be Me, definitely stood out in how punchy and sort of upbeat it was. It brought so much energy to this album. And then track 9, Nettie, I loved the vocals on that one. It had more of a melodic edge to it, but a beautiful track. And also track 13, Anesthesia, was definitely a favorite. That one was so incredibly immersive with its sound and very atmospheric too. I loved that one. But such a fantastic album from beginning to end and a great addition to Typo Negative's discography. Be sure to let me know in the comments what more of their albums you want me to check out here on the channel. And yeah, as usual, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned and I'll see you in the next video.